Of your business, Beijing slams the US over its stance on the China-India border issue, claiming the question is a matter of bilateral relations only. At least 50 women are abducted overnight in Burkina Faso as the country continues to battle a violent Islamist insurgency. We hear more from some local people.
The World Economic Forum are amongst the most powerful in the world. Billions of people around the world are right now suffering existential problems with food insecurity, war, inflation, energy prices, and natural catastrophes. These people do not sit at the table in Davos.
Easing its debt burden and helping it achieve sustainable development.
Also, on Monday, a Chinese-led coalition visited Sri Lanka, making pledges to help the country with its debt. The crisis-stricken nation has been holding talks on the same matter with India's Minister of External Affairs, who is expected to visit Colombo on January the 19th. Sri Lanka's central bank has urged two of its main creditors, namely China and India, to reduce their debts as soon as possible. Beijing's lending payments has been negotiating a $2.9 billion bailout from the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. Both parties reached an agreement in September last year, but the IMF has not yet approved the loan, as it refuses to give cash until a reduction of the billions in debts that Sri Lanka owes to India and China. Well, let's cross live now to Dr. Srimal Fernando, academic specialist in international relations and advisor on new regional diplomacy. Dr. Srimal, thanks for joining us this morning.
Yes, thank you very much for inviting me. China's delegation visiting Sri Lanka is an important part of the IMF approval of the $2.9 billion on a 48-month loan disbursement, because the IMF seeks the approval of two major bilateral creditors. One is India and one is China. With Sri Lanka and China, the bilateral loans exceeding about $9 billion is a key component on this matter, and China's visit further solidifies the prerequisite for the IMF approval. It is expected that by end of January or February, if the two parties, India as well as China, agrees on this bilateral agreement, the loan could be approved by the IMF board. So this is a key component for the country to move to the next stage in its economic progress, as well as to start going on to a progressive path when it comes to economic debt relief packages and stability. So this is the visit of the Chinese delegation is a very important milestone in the bilateral relations of Sri Lanka and China.
Now, I think that any talk of China and loans, especially when regarding Sri Lanka and many countries in Africa, many countries debt trap, where China is issuing these loans, but without giving enough stipulation as to how the country should restructure these loans and their economy to be able to pay them back. How would you answer that?
Well, the Chinese Exim Bank president, as well as Sri Lanka president, the CEO of the Exim Bank, had a discussion with the Sri Lankan president few days back. And there are positive signs on this particular matter, as also China has invested largely in Sri Lanka with the ports extension project, the economic zone, as well as key harbors. And China has been a key donor in contributing towards expressways and other infrastructure projects in Sri Lanka. So to make the country onto a easiness, as well as to give some comfort on this economic crisis for the small island nation, China has to play a key role in this. So these are positive signs because the IMF loan approval is a key direction in getting out of this crisis for Sri Lanka when it comes to economic matters. However, Sri Lanka needs to go on a political stability path with keeping elections, and India's external minister's visit in the coming days also will contribute to this because already there has been some agreements in the Paris Club with the other bilateral donors. But China is not in the Paris Club. So, as a bilateral relations to solve this matter, country-wise negotiations should take place. So that's why these key discussions with the president as well as the Communist Party delegation visiting to the country will matter in resolving this debt issue with one of the major bilateral donors in Asia.
Well, Dr. Srimal Fernando, academic specialist in international relations and advisor on new regional diplomacy. Thank you very much for your time today and breaking down what's quite a complex issue in Sri Lanka.
Thank you very much.